The Battle of Zama, the day Rome destroyed Hannibal. The year was 202 BC. For nearly 2 decades, the Roman Republic had lived in fear of one man, a man whose name alone could terrify armies, a man whose genius had crushed Roman legions again and again. That man was Hannibal Barca. He was the legendary general of Carthage, the commander who had crossed the deadly Alps with elephants and shocked the ancient world. Years earlier, he had annihilated Roman forces at the devastating Battle of Cannae in 216 BC, killing tens of thousands of soldiers in a single day. Rome had trembled, cities defected, allies abandoned them. Many believed the Roman Republic would collapse, but Rome did not surrender. Instead, they waited, they adapted, they searched for the one commander capable of defeating the greatest military mind of the ancient world. That commander was Scipio Africanus, and the moment of destiny was approaching. A battlefield near the North African town of Zama. 2 of the greatest generals in history were about to face each other. Only one would walk away victorious. Only one empire would survive. The battle at Zama was not just another clash between armies. It was the final act of the brutal Second Punic War. This war had begun in 218 BC when Hannibal attacked the Roman ally Saguntum in Spain. Rome declared war. Hannibal responded with a plan so bold it seemed impossible. Instead of fighting Rome at sea, he would invade Italy itself. He marched his army across Spain, crossed the Pyrenees, and then performed the unthinkable. He crossed the massive mountains of the Alps. Through freezing temperatures, avalanches, and hostile tribes, Hannibal brought an army of soldiers, cavalry, and war elephants into Italy. Rome had never seen anything like it. Over the next several years, Hannibal crushed Roman armies in battle after battle. The Battle of Trebia in 218 BC, the Battle of Lake Trasimene in 217 BC, and then the catastrophic Battle of Cannae in 216 BC. At Cannae, Hannibal surrounded a massive Roman army and slaughtered nearly 70,000 soldiers in a single day. It was one of the most devastating defeats in Roman history. Yet Rome refused to surrender. Instead, they changed their strategy. Rather than confronting Hannibal directly, they avoided large battles. They harassed his forces. They slowly weakened him. But the real turning point would come far from Italy. While Hannibal fought in Italy, a young Roman commander began making his mark in Spain. His name was Scipio Africanus. He was bold, intelligent, and fearless. In 209 BC, Scipio launched a daring attack on the Carthaginian stronghold of New Carthage. His surprise assault captured the city in a single day. It was a massive blow to Carthage. Over the next several years, Scipio defeated Carthaginian forces across Spain. Finally, in 206 BC, he crushed them at the Battle of Ilipa. Spain was lost to Carthage. But Scipio had an even bigger plan. Instead of chasing Hannibal in Italy, he would strike directly at the heart of Carthage itself. In 204 BC, Scipio landed his army in North Africa. Suddenly, the war had shifted. Carthage itself was under threat, and there was only one man who could save them: Hannibal. For nearly 15 years, Hannibal had campaigned in Italy, but now he was forced to return home. The Carthaginian Senate ordered him back to defend their homeland. In 203 BC, Hannibal finally sailed from Italy. It was the end of one of the most daring military campaigns in history. When Hannibal arrived in Africa, he quickly began assembling a new army, but it was not the same elite force he once commanded. Many of his veteran soldiers had died during the long war. His new army included inexperienced recruits and mercenaries. Still, Hannibal remained confident. He had defeated Rome before. He believed he could do it again. But this time, his opponent was not an ordinary Roman commander. This time, he faced Scipio. Before the battle, something remarkable happened. Hannibal and Scipio met face to face. Two of the greatest generals in history stood across from each other. They spoke privately.
Hannibal proposed peace, but Scipio refused. The war would end only with victory. The meeting ended. The armies prepared for battle. The battlefield near Zama stretched across open plains, perfect terrain for cavalry and maneuver. Hannibal commanded around 50,000 infantry and 80 war elephants. He also had thousands of cavalry. Scipio commanded roughly 35,000 Roman and allied soldiers, but he possessed a critical advantage. His cavalry was stronger, especially the powerful Numidian horsemen led by Massinissa. Cavalry would play a decisive role in what was about to happen. As the battle began, Hannibal unleashed his secret weapon, the war elephants. Dozens of massive beasts thundered toward the Roman lines. Elephants had terrified Roman armies before, but Scipio had prepared for this moment. Instead of forming solid lines, he arranged his troops in corridors. When the elephants charged, Roman soldiers blew horns and created loud noises. The elephants panicked. Many turned aside and ran through the gaps in the Roman formation. Others turned back toward Hannibal's own army. The terrifying elephant charge had failed. Next came the cavalry battle. Roman and Numidian horsemen charged against Carthaginian cavalry. The fighting was intense, but Scipio's cavalry proved superior. Soon the Carthaginian horsemen were driven from the battlefield. But the Roman cavalry did not stay. They chased the fleeing enemy far away. For a moment, the battlefield was left to the infantry alone. Now the main armies collided. Hannibal's first line consisted of mercenaries. They fought fiercely, but eventually the Roman legions pushed them back. The second Carthaginian line moved forward. The fighting became brutal and chaotic, but the Romans slowly gained ground. Finally, Hannibal deployed his last line, his veteran soldiers. These were the survivors of his long Italian campaign, the best warriors he had left. The battle paused briefly as both sides reorganized. Then the final clash began. Two disciplined armies collided in a deadly struggle. Shields crashed, spears shattered. Men fought hand to hand across the dusty plains of Zama. For a long time, neither side gained the advantage. It seemed the battle could go either way. But then something happened that changed everything. Far away from the battlefield, Roman cavalry had been chasing their enemies. Now they returned. Thousands of horsemen suddenly appeared behind Hannibal's army. The Carthaginian soldiers were trapped. Roman infantry attacked from the front. Roman cavalry attacked from behind. The Carthaginian line collapsed. Panic spread across the battlefield. The army of Hannibal began to break. The defeat was devastating. Around 20,000 Carthaginian soldiers were killed. Thousands more were captured. Hannibal himself escaped the battlefield, but the war was over. Carthage had lost. Soon after the battle, Carthage sued for peace. The terms were harsh. Carthage lost its empire. It was forced to give up its navy, and it had to pay massive tribute to Rome. The once mighty rival of Rome was now powerless. The Battle of Zama in 202 BC changed the course of history. It ended the Second Punic War. It confirmed Rome as the dominant power of the Western Mediterranean, and it transformed Scipio into a legend. After the victory, he was given the title Africanus. But the legend of Hannibal did not disappear. Even in defeat, he remained one of the greatest military commanders in history. His tactics would be studied for centuries, and his name would still echo through history. Rome had finally defeated its greatest enemy, but it had taken nearly 20 years of war to do it. The battlefield at Zama was the moment everything changed. It was the day the Roman Republic secured its destiny, and the day Hannibal's dream of defeat